Constant viewer or new viewer. If one is to understand the great mystery, one must study all its aspects, not just the dogmatic, narrow view of these occultist or conscious community folks. If you wish to become a complete and wise leader, you must embrace a larger view of the force. Al Achad here, and so is Wholography. Make sure you get your copy as soon as you can get one. Website is scrolling across the screen now. www.holographer.com/the-book. Make sure you get this copy in your hands. It's an autographed copy that also comes with the ebook. So for the price you're paying, it covers the autographed copy of the book, the ebook, and also the shipping and handling. So fill out the form at the website listed there. Also, Patreon. This video right here that I'm doing the stream. It's a call to get you onto the Patreon that I got, the Wholography Patreon. So the point of that is because today we're going to be talking about what you didn't know about the Force. So it doesn't matter if you know Star Wars or not. It doesn't matter if you're into it or not. What we're the actual topic is beyond Star Wars, but Star Wars gives it to you in a way that's more palpable, like it's easier to understand. But it's actually an ancient understanding that the movies and the franchise itself, the Star Wars thing, they give it to you under different names and different scenery and saying different movies, shows, comic books, whatever, wherever you're going to find Star Wars, and it's the Force. But this is a call to get you onto my Patreon, because if you really want to understand the Force, you really want to sign up for the Patreon. I have two tiers right now. First tier of my Patreon is Doth or Da'at, which is in the title of this video or stream that I'm doing now. And then the next level up or tier up is Keter, as in Keter crown. If we're dealing with the Sephiroth, dealing with Jewish mysticism or the Kabbalah. This is what we're going to be dealing with today. So you may want to stick around. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you got a job, you got to work, or you got kids, or you know what I'm saying, you don't like me, you just want to be nosy right quick and head out. You want to stay for this one, because this is where I'm pretty sure it was never broken down to you exactly what the Force is. So let's get to it, man. Let me share my screen. Hold on. I'm so glad I found this platform where I can share screens and share stuff with you while I'm speaking to you. You know what I mean? So let me go ahead and share that with you right quick. Hold on. Would it be better if I just do it like that or do it like this? Try not to be too much in the way of what I'm doing. Here, let's just do it on the side like that. You should still be able to see everything. So as always, when I'm trying to break things down and analyze them, explain them, deal with them, I'm always making sure that we deal with the etymology, because the etymology is often revealing. It's often giving a lot away about what it is this thing or whatever we're dealing with is talking about. Always. It never really fails, you know what I'm saying? Because etymology brings you back to the source of why the word was even created or what it originally meant, and then what it started to mean or how it started to be appropriated as time went on. That's the importance of this stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I've said it in a previous video before that you deal with etymology, etymology is the language of root workers, right? But since I'm dealing with something that's more depthical than a root work, we're dealing with kernel work. So this is a kernel working you're dealing with. This is a kernel working you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? So we're taking levels, we're taking the archaeological dig deeper or more depthical than it usually is with the kernel work. Getting to the seed, not the root, the seed, where it started. So what we have on the screen is a word, Elyon. Elyon. It's a Hebrew term. Elyon. And for those that are familiar with Judaism, or they're familiar with the Kabbalah, or just dealing with anything Hebrew, you'll be familiar with the title El Elyon. El Elyon. Not El, it's El. See, that's a deception right there of you pronouncing things. They keep putting this to pronounce this word, when in Hebrew it's spelled with a aleph and a lamed. So aleph is a. It's the beginning of it's the reason why you even have an alphabet and then an alphabet, which is the name of the Hebrew alphabet or alphabet. You know what I'm saying? Alphabet. But they use the E for pronunciation purposes, but it's really El Elyon. So just for those that would like to pronounce things correctly, El Elyon, which means what? Lord Most High, or God Most High, the Most High God. Now, when you're dealing with any of these like monotheistic religions, right? God is that El Elyon. So you have to understand this from a Hebrew perspective, because the Bible was not originally written in English, nor was it originally written in Greek. As far as we know, it was originally written in Hebrew. So let's get that out the way. It was originally written in Hebrew. So we're going to go back to that original language. So it wasn't God. It wasn't God. This is a Germanic word. God. That's gut. Gut. This is a Germanic word. We're dealing with Hebrew. So in the Hebrew Bible, it's El, or El Elyon, or Elohim. I'm pretty sure you heard of Elohim, right? Lord Most High, the Most High God. But is why they keep using the term God in the description of this El Elyon. We need to start digging into what El means, right? So let's dig into it. Let's do that archaeological dig. So this is why I say El, where most people want to pronounce it that way. It's actually El.
Strong's H410. Ale.
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 Ale. Not L. Ale. This Blue Letter Bible website, there's a few other websites where they have the strong definitions and these more comprehensive meanings of these terms that you find in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? That's why y'all need to throw your Bible out. Nah, go get it from the trash. Go get it from the dumpster. Go get it back from the trash people. You know what I'm saying? Go get it, because you threw out something that you didn't decode, and because you were given a certain theology or a certain interpretation, you thought it wasn't worth decoding. You have to decode this. This is a book of alchemy, Hebrew alchemy, Jewish alchemists. There's a book called Jewish Alchemists. This is a Hebrew understanding. Ale. Let me have the white dude say it again.
Strong's H410.
Can y'all hear that? Ale.
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 Ale. Not L. Ale. That strong A in there. Ale. Now let's look at the definitions that we get from what ale actually means. Now they first want to put here God, godlike, one, mighty one. So they keep making this thing Christian by putting the word God in it. But if we go beyond that first rendition of what that word is, we get into mighty things in nature, and then we get into what? Strength, power. What they choose to leave out in this definition, which they should definitely add here, is the word force. Because what is a strength and a power and a force? These are interchangeable words, right? Even if you go up here to the King James version of the Bible, the Strongs, they sit here and, give you some things that ale actually means: great, idols, Emmanuel, might, strong, force. So let's go back to this understanding of El Elyon. El Elyon is not talking about no God. The word God wasn't even invented yet when they came up with El Elyon. El Elyon is the power most high, or the force most high, the most high force, the most high God. They're using this term God in a Germanic sense in the English to be another word for force, power, strength, the most high strength, the most high force, the most high power, the power most high. So now it takes us right into Star Wars, don't it? Because I said this in previous videos before. I'm trying to get black people, especially out there, to start getting into Star Wars to understand what's really going on. And y'all keep sitting here thinking it's some nerdy shit when it's like, no, these nerds are more advanced than you because they understand the force. Because this is exactly what El means. So when we say El Elyon, we're saying the most high force. That's what we are talking about. I'm only interested in speaking to people that want to understand this. The rest of y'all can get out. The rest of y'all can go ahead and watch the other videos from other, occultists or other, conscious people that think they know what they're talking about. Let's get into the etymology, the seed work, the kernel work of this stuff. So if you start taking that word God out of the Bible and start putting in power, force, strength, now it starts to make sense what this shit is really talking about. So now you create a whole fucking Star Wars shit where it's actually talking about power, force, and strength rather than talking about some, Christian God. You're getting thrown off by the word God. Strength, sovereignty, supremacy, power. This is what the force is in the Star Wars thing. This is what this is talking about. Because we already know, like, for example, you want to talk about Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Darth City, this Darth word. We already know that we can trace that back to the word dot or da'at or doth. You just took a R, or one of the A's out and put an R. That's what George Lucas and them was doing. That's what these creators of the Star Wars was doing. See, the merit for me with Star Wars is that it has a Hebrew, Kemetic Egyptian base to it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I tell you to get into it. Because they're telling you this shit right to your face, but they're sitting here making it something galactic and outer space in a galaxy far, far away, when actually this is what it is right here in your face. This is what you're experiencing throughout your day. You're witnessing forces at play, powers at play, strengths, supremacies, principalities at play or at work. That's the whole weaving of your entire existence is powers at play, powers at work. So when we say El Elyon, we're talking about the most high power, the power of powers. Just like how they say with Jesus Christ, he says the King of Kings. This is the same concept. So you have forces, but what is the force that dominates them all? What is the force that is central to any other type of force? The El Elyon. Oh, let me let the white dude say it one more time. Hold on. Can y'all hear this?
Strong's H.
I don't know if you can hear it, but he's pronouncing it.
Ale.
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 Ale. Not L. Ale. El Elyon, the most exalted power. So this brings us in try to get an understanding of why we should be, why would I even come here to talk to you about El Elyon and then also make a tie to, the force of Star Wars, the whole fictional Star Wars thing, because it has an ancient understanding of the unmoved mover. So if you truly want to understand God, you really think you want to know about God, understand what it's all about. Unmoved mover. If everything in your experience is moving, even in your dreams, even in your visions, even in your meditation, there's things moving. Whether we're talking about physical things or metaphysical things, there's always something in motion. There's something moving, right? You go outside, cars are moving, trees are moving, the wind is moving, animals, people, everything's moving. You watch your computer screen or your phone screen, there's things moving on the screen. Everything's in motion. But what was the first movement ever in existence? That's the unmoved mover. The concept of the unmoved mover is that it is the first thing to move and nothing is moving it. See, anything that is to be moved is below the unmoved mover. What do we mean by unmoved mover? Again, it's that which moves things, but things cannot move it. So it is the ultimate mover. It is the Elyon. It is the most high power, the most high force. So whatever name you want to put to it, the God, the Allah, the you know what I'm saying, whatever whatever these deities y'all like dealing with. I deal with the unmoved mover. The unmoved mover move your God. You want to bring your Oshuns and your Oguns and your all these other type. There is a unmoved mover that moves all of them. So why focus on either one of them where you could focus on the true source of all the movements there is? So as you go throughout time, you know you have a past, you have a present, and you have a future. What moves things through time? What is the ultimate mover? That's the ultimate manipulator. That's the ultimate hand that puts things where it wants to put things. That's the force. Elyon or Elohim. So y'all, some of y'all like dealing with that term Elohim, which is powers. It's a plural for powers because Elo means force or power or strength. Because we can go right back to this Strong's Hebrew lexicon where it gives you that understanding. Because if you just focus on God, then it's like, you know, well, what does God mean? What is God? What is a God? A God is a strength. It is a power. It can also extend into being an abstract, a theme. It is the most high force or idea that governs everything else up under it. So, for example, you watching this video right now, this live stream, there is a force getting you to watch the live stream or the video. There's a force governing everything, especially when it moves. What is the force or power that gets you up in the morning? What is the force that gets you to go to work? What is the force that makes you go to YouTube and watch everyone's video? What is the force behind you having sex? That's what we're dealing with. That's the forces. Elohim. But there then is the Elyon Elohim, the most high force of forces. That's the seat of power that you haven't been sitting in. You're not aiming for that. You're aiming for some lesser entity, some lesser force. I deal with the force of forces. Now, going back to the Star Wars thing, they sat here and told you what God is: force, power. That's what it is. So think about all that other shit that they keep saying that it is. And it's like, well, I'm not here to argue with you about that, but we go to this whole thing right here. El is used in this Hebrew Bible to not only mean God, but to also explain that God is strength, it's power, it's force, it's might. The unmoved mover. Have you ever seen here? I'll bring it up. I love this part of the video where I bring up pictures. Have you ever seen this symbolism before? Hold on, I'm trying to look for it. I'm pretty sure you've seen this hand before. Like some people use it as they wear it as a pendant on their necklace, like this hand of God. I'm trying to find the hand where it has the eyeball in it. Yeah, something like this. Something like that. Something like this, especially. Very important symbolism. This is the symbol of the unmoved mover, because you use your hands to what? You're moving things. I'm moving this can of sparkling water. I'm moving this phone. I'm moving to type with my keyboard. I'm moving this light. You see what I'm doing? I'm moving this microphone. It's me being the manipulator. If we deal with the etymology of manipulator, the mani is the hand. So so for you to manipulate something, it's like you are proverbially or figuratively using your hand to move things how you want them. So if I'm manipulating you, it's like me using my hand to control your movements, like an action figure. I'm turning your torso, I'm turning your head, I'm making your legs go up, I'm making your hands go this way. I am the manipulator, I'm the Elyon. I am the force of forces. I am moving you to do this, do that, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. That's what God means. So you have a whole franchise called Star Wars, where the mystical part of its conception is dealing with the force, the El of Elyon, of Elohim. That's what the force is talking about. Even before we get into any of these type of super abilities that you see these Jedi and Sith within Star Wars doing, we're talking about how things move, how things go. So, for example, how your life goes from the time you are born from the time you die. There was a force behind the entire fucking narrative of your life. You did this, you did that. You did this, you did that. You didn't do this, you didn't do that. You did that at this time, you didn't do that at that time. There was a force behind your entire existence. The problem is people go throughout their entire existence and never get into that force. Tragedy. So when I say the da'at or the daf of Star Wars, we're talking about the knowledge of this force that we can trace back to the understanding right here in the Hebrew Bible. Elyon, Elohim. So I ask you, based on what I was at or telling you just now, do you know the force behind the events of your own life? Why did things happen the way they did? Perhaps some of you have some sort of abuse or some sort of trauma from your past, you being a child or adolescent. Why did it happen like that? For some of you, how come you was born to parents that neglected you, or you was born to a parent that abused you, or born to a parent that, they didn't treat you the same way they treated your brother or your sister? Why was you born in the United States? Why was you born in Europe? Why was you born in Australia? Might. What was the force behind you being born where you were? What was the force behind the two parents that you were born to? You think it's just we're just using lightsabers and fighting the dark side of the like? Nah, that's some lower shit. You know what I'm saying? It's cool to do. You know what I'm saying? You see the little Star Wars nerds doing their thing with that. They be doing their thing, but the concept is beyond all that. It's beyond all of that. It's the actual way that things happen and things occur within your existence. So whether we're talking about your physical existence, your existence when you dream, your existence before you become physical, your metaphysical existence, you want to deal with metaphysics? What is the ultimate force behind all these events and things happening? If you deal with the ultimate force of existence, which is termed El Elyon, now you're dealing with some power. Instead of being moved, you become one and the same with the mover. El Elyon Elohim, the most high force of all forces. Because then you have lesser forces that serve the ultimate force. So it kind of fits in with the whole thing of mixing, monotheistic and polytheistic religions or systems together. Because you would think of, something like ancient Kemet or any of these African spiritual systems where they have these multiple netter or rishas or gods or whatever you want to call them, right? Those are lesser Els or Elohim to the most high El Elyon that controls all of them and is the central force of all of them. So in all actuality, if you're calling, Oshun a force, or if you're calling um Shiva a force or a god, no, a god, like you're calling them deities or gods, you're really talking about them being powers, forces, and strengths. So you have people who worship a certain force. Like, for example, if you are in the cult of Het Heru, or in the, saying you're in the cult of Set, you're in the cult of Isis, you're really just in the cult of worshiping a certain power, a certain force. So actually the force is not away from, what the fuck you think you're dealing with. But in Star Wars, they sit here and straight tell you it's force. That's why it resonates with so many people across the world. No matter your ethnicity, no matter your background, no matter your race, no matter your gender. Even for the fluid dudes, the fluid girls, gender fluids. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure they're trying to create some sort of gender fluid Star Wars Jedi. I would even get into that too, because I know there's money behind that. You know what I'm saying? You create a LGBTQ Jedi. Look how much money, merchandise. That's why they said they created the Mandalorian, so that the little Grogu, the little Yoda looking baby little creature that be with the Mandalorian, making all types of merchandise money. You gotta go like this when you make that type of money. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do like this when you make that type of money. But that's why it resonates. Even today, there's Jedi is a religion now. It's an official religion. It's a registered religion, just like how you're a Christian or a Buddhist or a Shintoist or, you know what I'm saying? Hindu, like it's an official religion. There's people who live and die and pray to the Jedis. You know what I'm saying? They don't just show up at these Comic Cons dressed up as Jedi for fun. They live that lifestyle, and they should. I have no problem with that. I have no issue. It's really legit to do that, because in other systems you keep giving them names. You give these different gods or deities or orishas these names when it's like, we just deal with the force. You know what I'm saying? We just deal with the force, cuz you want to have all these different names, but it also makes it, clear that when you compare something like the force to like any of these other religions or spiritual systems, when you compare them, it's like now you look at those names as really as powers. They are lesser forces of the main force. So Urzuli from the voodoo thing is just a force. It's a power. It's a El. It's not El Elyon, but it's a El nonetheless. It's a lesser force. You can even see it as an aspect of the one force. So even when we start getting into, hold on, I want to give you more symbology. I'm pretty sure you've seen this before. You've seen something like this before too. The hand of God. Or even if you get into literature and you deal with the literary device known as Deus Ex Machina, where something happens in the story where it's like God comes from the machine. That's what it literally means. God of the machine, Deus Ex Machina, comes down to earth and makes something happen within the story. The hand of God coming down to manipulate the story to how he or she or it sees fit. So this symbol of the eye and the hand, that is the unmoved mover. That is the El Elyon, the force of forces, the most high force. This is excellent symbolism right here, because it's showing you that it's all knowing, all seeing, omniscient, and all powerful because it's the hand that moves everything else. So you got to ask yourself, are you the force or are you being moved by a force? Are you the puppet or the puppeteer? And you see women with this, I guess it's supposed to be like a protection of the evil eye or something like that. I see a lot of women wearing this necklace, and they also have it on their Instagram page. So I guess it's supposed to be a form of protection. I don't know. They even made it into an emoji, this evil eye thing, whatever it is. But this is ancient wisdom. This is ancient symbolism right here. It symbolizes the unmoved mover. Elyon. This is the force of forces. So when you see Yoda or Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker, going back to the Star Wars thing, this is what they're talking about. This is what they're talking about. So it's not so nerdy and geeky after all. Now, is it? No. Because it's drawing from our own shit. This is ours our people put this together. This is our ancient work right here. You mean to tell me you never seen this symbolism before with the eye and the hand? Hell, I even had a dream about this before. And I've talked about it in my what's it called? My cult microbiology 101. And also in my dream genome thesis. I talked about having a dream with this in here. The symbolism of this hand. Hell, we can make it scary, is it? Because that's how frightened some of y'all is without you're not dealing with the real thing. You're frightened of it. Yeah, it's called the evil eye. This thing right here, evil eye. But you know what I'm saying? Make it scary for y'all. Boo. Hell, this is even part of it too. But let's talk more about this here because this is more, we deal with metaphysics. Y'all want to be metaphysical, right? The first book ever called Metaphysics is Aristotle, Greek philosopher. First time in recorded history of that term being used, and it was the title of a book called Metaphysics. And in there, he talks about the unmoved mover, that which moves without being moved. So, what do you think? You being a lesser force, you're going to move the actual one true Elyon force? Because your best bet is to get in line with it, which is why I'm out here promoting alignment. It's the unmoved mover. But then we take it to, well, what was the first movement ever moved? You got work to do, but you don't be doing it. You got work to do, but you don't be doing it. You know what I'm saying? You don't be out here doing that work. What is the first movement ever moved? Hell, you ain't even gotta do that. Just do something simple or something that's in your league at this moment. What was your first movement? Was it the first time you moved in the womb? What was it the first time at conception when the sperm cell and the egg cell of your father or mother came together? What is your first movement? Because it was the one movement that started out all the other movements after that, subsequent to that. So the reason you are here right now, right here and now, all stretches all the way back to a first movement that was associated with you. Because of that first movement, you are here right now, or wherever the fuck you think you at right now. And also, by extension, we deal with primum mobile, first moved. Now, in this article, they sitting here talking about, it's just dealing with, the geocentric model of the universe and it's dealing with astronomy. Nah, that you dealing with it on a lower level. You got to deal with it higher than that. You're not going high enough. Because the first movement is what spawned everything else in existence. It is because of that first movement of the unmoved mover that anything here exists. Because I deal with ontology. This book is heavy on ontology. Ontology is the study of existence itself. I have a couple chapters on here dealing with ontology. Ontology scaling or ontological scaling, ontological mapping. These are very important things if you want to truly understand existence and then you in existence, yourself, know thyself. So Elyon is the actual thing that you could be sitting here doing the work to discover. But you'll be doing that. You'll be doing your motherfucking work. So imagine going throughout this existence and never finding that out. So guess what? You are doomed to keep here repeating that. So I don't care how magical you think you is or cult you think you've become. It's if you haven't discovered or come across and aligned yourself with that Elyon, you're kind of lost in the sauce. This is the force, young Padawan. Must discover all parts of the force, not just the dogmatic, narrow view of these conscious community people or these new agers or these so-called occultists. You want to be so dark and spooky, it's like you keep it simple. Deal with the Elyon. The force of all forces. What was the first movement ever to be moved? What is the first motion? Prima mobile. That's what it literally means. Prima meaning first or before or in the beginning, the first, and mobile meaning movement. What is the first movement? What is your first movement in particular? What was in motion for you to exist at this point in your life, like to exist at all? Hold on. Here, they even give you this image. Which this literally means, the magnum or the great chaos. So for those of y'all out there convinced that you're a chaos being or you claim that title, is like, well, here you go. The whole chaos thing is tied to what? What is it tied to, my friend? Primal mobile. What is the primal mobile tied to? The unmoved mover. Niggas out here calling themselves chaos beings that have no understanding of this concept. Baffling. Bananas. Gorillas. You know what I'm saying? Chaos, every gorilla for itself. Remember that? I don't know if you ever seen American Gangster. It's like chaos, every gorilla for himself. You know what I mean? Look at all the stuff that's even tied to it, like the monad, the one, logos, Godhead, the all, which is, what I'm saying, the reason why I wrote holography. You know what I mean? Causeless cause. Let's see what that's all dealing with. Because this is also in the realm of causes too. It's not just force or power, it's also cause. Like the principle of the principle of cause and effect in the whole hermetic alchemy 7 laws of the universe thing. The absolute unmoved mover, which is the proto-logos. Causeless cause. It is not cause, but it causes everything else. That is the truth of this existence. Give me another truth. I dare you. Somebody put gorillas up. Put the gorillas up. Chaos, every gorilla for itself. You know what I mean? But this is what we're talking about here. So this is beyond all your little spiritualities and your cults and your consciousness and all this stuff. We dealing with this. This is kernel work we're talking about here. This is kernel work. This is the kernel we dealing with, not the roots, not the branches, the trunk, or the leaves, or the fruits. The kernel. It all kind of circles back to the kernel anyway. You start at the kernel, the roots and the branches, and the sapling comes out the soil. You know what I mean? Then you get the branches, the leaves, and then the fruit. And what does the fruit bear? Seeds. Starts it all over again. That's the central point of it all. What's the point, Al Achad? The central point. The unmoved mover, the causeless cause. The anitos anisha. You know what I'm saying? Or even the olos anisha or Aisha, if that's how you pronounce it. Now, you then do have to, you know what I'm saying, these theosophical people, I don't deal with that side of it because it doesn't even, it's not even something where it's like it's limited to some theosophy. This is an ancient understanding. So they want to come up with this you know, this whole term. These terms are ancient, bro. Let's take it back. Unmoved mover. This is in the first book that ever had the word metaphysics in it. So I don't know how metaphysical you are or how metaphysical you claim, but this is where it comes from. The unmoved or prime mover. That's the force. This is the dot or dot of Star Wars. That's why I'll be trying to get y'all into Star Wars. Come on over, join the force. Get into the force. That's why it resonates with so many people around the world. That's why they get emotional when they see Luke. And you know, the whole hero's journey. But what initiates the hero's journey? It's a force, a cause, a strength, a power, an El. Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
Strong's H410.
El.
Ale.
El.
Ale.
El. What chaos beings? Y'all don't even know this stuff. Come on now. Talking about chaos beings. Nah, nigga, deal with the prime, the first movement. Start there because it's doesn't see how it falls in line with previous things I've talked about. Sankofa, going back. What would you go back for? To deal with the unmoved mover. That's where you began. That's where you start. This is kernel work, friend, not root work. This is the point of Sankofa. What's the central point of it, Al Achad? Why are you wasting our time on this live stream, man? Because we're going back to the unmoved mover. You're going back to the beginning, the start of your existence, not just your physical body. Your physical existence is just a outgrowth of your true existence, which is with the unmoved mover. If the unmoved mover never moved, you wouldn't be. You wouldn't exist. None of us would. Nothing would. So each and every being is charged to go back to what? The Elyon. They even deal with this shit in the Matrix. To jump, you know, to another franchise where they say it goes back to the mainframe. What do you think that meant? Like, for example, if you was, you know, if you was in a Matrix and you died, or, you know, if you was a program that the Matrix created and you lived out your purpose, you done now, you return back to the mainframe. The point of the movie is to twist you into believing that Neo or, you know, Thomas Anderson is the hero when he's not. The Matrix uses Neo in the third movie to bring Smith back to the main frame. Because in the second movie, Reloaded, Smith explains to Neo that, you know, you freed me. Like, I know I was supposed to go back to the mainframe, but I decided I'm not going to do that. I rebelled. That's what Smith was saying. They deal with that whole theory that Smith is the true hero of the Matrix movies. Because Neo never destroys the Matrix. He works for the Matrix in the third movie. So they use Neo in the third movie, Revolutions, to get Smith, who becomes like a virus that's, taking down the Matrix, because he was about to do that. So then Neo sits here and, tricks him into going back to the mainframe. That was the point. Because as long as Smith, as he keeps copying himself as a virus, you can't destroy him. You can't fuck him up until he goes back to the mainframe. So Neo was used as a tool to get Smith back into the mainframe. And then the Matrix is reset, and then motherfuckers, still in that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Some strong motherfucking propaganda right there, ain't it? But we on Star Wars today. We ain't talking about the Matrix. We on the Star Wall. We on the Star Wall. You know what I mean? Luke Skywalker and them, the little Grogu, the little small little green thing. You know what I mean? The Force. Because when, like I said, when people hear the Force, they just think it's just about, them using some sort of telekinetic and telepathic powers, which that's a part of it. But even more, it is like that shit is kind of underneath, or it's subservient to the event itself. So why does the event happen where you have to use telekinesis or use any of these superpowers? The event must take the event has to be established first for any of these lesser abilities that you think is so great for it to exist, for it to be a thing. This is the da'at of the Force. This is the knowledge of Elyon Elohim, the highest force of the forces. Like, let me break it down. Let me do some more analysis. So if each and every one of these humans, you and I, you watching this or whoever, we each have our own part of the Force. Like, there's a force that governs over what I am. There's a force governing over you. You are that force, right? But then there's a greater El Elyon, which is the force of even humans being even whatever they are. Whether you're calling us humans or we're something greater than that, there's a force behind that. Which brings us into another concept in Star Wars that a lot of Star Wars people they don't know nothing about this shit. They probably heard the word, but they never dealt with it. Here, let me bring this up. The wills. So now we're bringing in some other type of terminology for the word God or El, will. The very first title for George Lucas's Star Wars franchise, his original title was Journey of the Wills or Journal of the Wills. Here we go. This was his first title for his Star Wars epic. Then he changed it to Star Wars. Here, let's go deeper into it. So this was the original name of Star Wars, Journal of the Wills, because it was about these wills or these forces or these powers or the force itself that was making a recording of the events that went down in this galaxy. And there's something else that people don't know is that R2D2, that little beep 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 beep. I'm trying. It was horrible. The little R2D2 robot that always be helping out the heroes of the Star Wars. They say that R2D2 is supposed to be recording all the events of Star Wars and then taking that event back to the wills. So that's why you always see R2D2 in all the movies. He's there to make note or write down all the events that have happened over the entire Star Wars storyline. So he's like a scribe, like a droid scribe. Here, for those of you that don't know what R2D2 is, I gotta. Some people don't. This little motherfucker right here, him, this robot. He's always in all the movies recording all the events for the wills, because all the events that are recorded are going into the journal of the wills. So that's this droid's job. So he's really the main character of the series. People don't know that. They don't know that shit. They think it's Luke or Anakin or, you know what I'm saying, or even Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's like, nah, it's this droid. It's his story because he's narrating everything. See, they even have this theory that I wouldn't say it's a theory, but it's definitely, you know, this is what the George Lucas was doing. They have an incredible theory for why R2D2 will be the key to the end of. Well, no, not that. I'm not talking about that. The movies was horrible. I'm just talking about the entire theory itself. Hold on. Hold on. Wait a minute. I think I lost where I was going to. Hold on. Go back up. This and then they showed it right on the screen. Hold on. Yeah, I lost it. Hold on. I can just type it up. Hold on. Star Wars is told by R2D2. But that's neither here nor there. But getting back to that's what I want to focus on, the wills. Journal of the Wills. So it's like the George Lucas dude is not hiding this shit from you. He's sitting here using words that are similar to how we use words, you know, saying our, you know, normal everyday life. So you can add will is a part of this definition. So we have strength, power, we're adding force, and we're also adding will. These are interchangeable terms. They all mean the same thing. So Elyon is the will of wills. Even wheels, you can even use that term into this shit too, because wheels are things that spin, and if they're attached to other wheels, they can spin those wheels and so on and so forth into infinity. This all connects to each other. So do you know the force now after about 53 minutes? Do you know the force? Do you know the force? What if I showed up on your porch today and be like, excuse me, sir, ma'am, but do you know the force? Can I teach you about the force? You see, in chapter 26 or chapter 24, paragraph 8, it says that, you know, the force is, you know what I'm saying? That's the power of the universe. Won't you come on down to the congregation and donate and put the money in the basket as it passes around the congregation? Do you know the force? And some of y'all know to get, or you already have the book of Sith. Made videos about the book of Sith, the alchemy of the black side of the force, the Sith, where they deal with a more scientific side of the force rather than a religious one. So I told you earlier that here, we on Google, right? Hold on, let me look it up. Yeah, they have Jediism. there's a thing called Jediism. You didn't know? This is a true religion. Has its own code. This is the code of the Jedi's. There is no emotion. There is only peace. There is no ignorance. There is knowledge. There is no passion. There is serenity. There is no chaos. There is harmony. There is no death. There is force. The force. That's the ethos. And then the Sith have a oppositional one where they deal with there is no such thing as peace. There is only passion, and the force shall free me. If you a Star Wars nerd, you probably correct me if you're watching this, but I don't remember it off the bat. But this is a true thing. You think these Star Wars niggas is playing? They live this. They live this religion. It's a true thing, and it makes sense. Because obviously it's really this. It's Elyon. That's what they're doing. They're just using the movies as, as a, imagery that they can dress up as, and, they can put on cloaks and have, the little Jedi sword, the lightsaber, you know what I mean? Look at these motherfuckers. It's a faith. It's official. And it also kind of mirrors Christianity in the sense that it lets you know who Jesus was always, or what Jesus was within that religion, as far as a theology is concerned. So Luke Skywalker is the new Jesus Christ, for especially for the European world. So whatever you think Jesus Christ is, Luke Skywalker is that. He's the space Jesus. You ever meditated like that? Are you that? You ever meditated with your lightsaber across your legs like that? And how you have like characters like this, like Donnie Yen, who plays in this movie, the little Rogue Star Wars movie, Rogue One Star Wars story, which they use that movie to kind of show you how the Death Star is made, and what I'm saying, that whole thing. And he moves by the force. So in this movie, he's like a blind samurai. He's like a Zatoichi. He's blind. You can see it by his eyes. He's blind in the movie, but he's led by the force. Can I tell you more about the force? If we go to chapter 12, paragraph 18, I can tell you about the force. So he moves by the force. He doesn't move by eyesight. He's blind physically, but he has the sight of the force. So what's that movie with Denzel Washington in it? What's the movie? Book of Eli. Spoiler alert, nigga. At the end of the movie, we find out that this nigga was physically blind the whole time. So it's that whole thing of moved by the faith, by the force, which is actually a scientific thing rather than it just being religious. They like making it religious and faith-based when it's like, no, there's a whole dark science to it. That's the true point of the dark side of the force. It's the side of the force that they're not telling you anything about. In the movie Revenge of the Sith, Anakin, tells the Emperor Palpatine that, in regards to the Jedi, he says that I know there are things about the Force that they're not telling me. I'm telling it to you because you need a broader view instead of a narrow view of the Force. Here, they even went as far as to say that the little stormtrooper is a motherfucking Christ figure. But definitely when you get to start talking about Luke Skywalker, he's Jesus. He's the Jesus of this shit. Sometimes they say Obi-Wan Kenobi is the Jesus, which, like I said, I mean, you could have two Jesuses on. I mean, it's your religion, nigga. You make up what you want to make up. But you are ultimately dealing with El Elyon. El Elyon Elohim. The most high will of wills, the most high forces of forces, the most high power of powers, the unmoved mover, the causeless cause. Let me talk to you one more time about the force, about just the El Elyon. Let me tell you about the force. You see, in chapter 2, section 18, we talk about the force. Can I give you some more about the force? Come on down to the congregation of the force, where you get free, wine. You get free wine, free crackers. But we'd really love for you to donate to the church. Donate to the force. It's right there on the screen, the $ Alex Will 64. No, I'm just trying to make fun of those Texas mega church preachers. Why? 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 But this shit is ancient, bro. It's Proto-Semitic. I'm pretty sure that is beyond even the Hebrew. It's Proto-Semitic. Like it's Semitic. It's beyond all this time. The force is nothing new. Because you could have easily said in this whole Star Wars thing, instead of force, power. The dark power, what I'm saying, the dark side of the power, the light side of the power, or the dark side of the will, or what I'm saying, the light side of the will. You're a force user, you're a power user, you're a will user, a strength user, a cause user. Don't I have the gospel about the force? So I can see how they make this shit a religion. But I'm telling you to make it a science so that you can do the Sankofa thing and go back to the beginning and come face to face with the unmoved mover. Because I know a lot of people sitting here claiming that they're metaphysicians or they know they got the drop on metaphysics, they know all about it. Well, it's like, well, let's go to the first text ever about this word and see what the person that the Aristotle, what was he saying? Because there's no earlier recording of the word metaphysics. It's a Greek word. I'm pretty sure in other languages they have, or older languages they have their term in their language. But right in there, they deal with the unmoved mover. That's where you begin. That's where the unmoved mover first moved. Was you there? Can you go back to that? Because what did I tell you in the video that I just did dealing with the Ankh and the Duat and birth and death? Go back and watch that video. Go back and get those points. You know what I'm saying? Go back. You're going back. Because life is all about functions of you going forward. So now, if you're going to do the inverse of it, you're going backwards. Just like when people have a near-death experience, what happens? What happens? They go backwards with that. They go backwards. Their whole life flashes before their eyes. Said the phrase "will into existence" took on a whole new meaning. Yes, that's why I brought up this understanding of the wills. This was the original title of the whole Star Wars thing. Hold on, let's go back. I'll just sit here and talk about going back. This was the original title. This is George Lucas, his handwriting, I would think. His first script for that movie back in the 70s was Journal of the Wills. But I guess that's not appealing enough, for motherfuckers that's trying to go see a movie. So they changed to Star Wars. Makes sense. I want to go see a Star Wars. Journal of the Wills. He could Journal of the Force. When you will something, you're forcing it to become what it is. You're willing something into existence. Alex Will 64. Come on, you think I'm lost on this stuff when I use these names like Al Achad and Alex Will. Come on, man. I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't know that the alternate name for Star Wars is the Journal of the Wills. They don't know that. That was the original title of the whole shit. And this is supposed to be a depiction of what the wills look like if they were physical. You know what I'm saying? So get in the Star Wars and learn the Force. Young Padawan, learn the Force. But that's my time, man. I don't want to, like I said, I'll be trying to cut this shit off at around an hour. But yeah, man, that's what we dealing with today. Elyon, Elohim. That's the force of forces. You know what I mean? And shout out to my Patreons, because this video is about trying to get you into my Patreon so we can take this shit a step further. Don't be lost out there with those people that don't understand the force. They don't understand the wheels. Come on inside to the Wholography Patreon, where you learn about the force on the dark side in the back. Because you got all the stuff in the front of the store, but way in the back there, where you can't see past the door, look back there, that's where you want to come deal with the Elyon Elohim. Anyway, man, Al Achad, man, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you get the book, man. It's simple website, simple thing to type in. You can even go to my Instagram, AlexWill64, or go to Holographer on Instagram, type the link or click on the link, and it takes you right to this the web page where I have the book there. You can if you want to, I also have a link on that page where you can download the first chapter and read the first chapter for free. You know what I'm saying? You can do that if you want to. But yeah, man, this is Al Achad dealing with Elyon Elohim, the true force, the dot, the knowledge of Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? I know there are things about the force they're not telling you. And I just spent a whole hour, you know what I'm saying, making sure that you know. So may the force be with you, and you know, join the dark side and do all that other nerdy Star Wars shit, because you know we deal with Elyon. You know what I mean?